My name is Amanda Korth. I live in Pflugerville, Texas. My husband is at work quite a bit, so it's me and the girls most of the time. My oldest is Claire. She's 7 and in 2nd grade. Her younger sister Eleanor is 6. She's in 1st grade. Good job. They knew that I was really sick and that I couldn't play with them. I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer in February of 2018, just a week or 2 after I turned 30 years old. It was like just this wave of numbness. Had I gone a couple more months, it could have been life-ending. I had a full summer of chemo and then radiation, had a double mastectomy, and then my reconstructions. I did have insurance. The bill was just what was like remaining out of my deductible that hadn't been met. The reason I hadn't paid the bill right away is I needed an itemized statement. I had a secondary insurance company that would reimburse me for the out-of-pocket, but they needed an itemized statement, and getting that was next to impossible.
You tried though?
I tried, yes. There were forms I had to fill out, a release of medical records. I sent those in several times. I tried calling, but I never could get anybody who could confirm that they had the paperwork they needed to send me an itemized statement. And when I didn't hear back from them, eventually it just kind of fell off my radar until we got served with papers.
The medical debt lawsuit against Amanda Korth came 2 years after her reconstructive surgery at the hospital.
She says she finally got her itemized bill, but that it came from the lawyers representing the hospital and only after she'd been sued.
The firm eventually dropped the case against her, but only after she paid the full amount.
It was a sense of panic at first because you don't know what this is going to do to your credit. I was so tired of fighting hospitals, fighting treatments, fighting for my life. I didn't want to fight with anybody anymore. I just wanted it over.
Suing patients for medical debt is not against the law, but why that route to collect money? We asked a local healthcare attorney who's an expert in billing practices about our findings, and he pointed out the hospital is a for-profit or investor-owned hospital.
So they have shareholders that are looking for a return on the dollar. So when you think about that, I mean, all of those things generate profits for the shareholders.
American Hospital Association data tells us Texas has more for-profit hospitals than any other state, and they make up more than half of all the hospitals statewide.
The hospital says it treats every patient who visits the hospital emergency room, regardless of the patient's ability to pay.
So, and they're correct. Anybody who shows up in the ER, regardless of all the factors, race, ability to pay, all those different things, you have to treat them. I mean, you're trying to help people physically repair themselves.
It says the sum of $1,021.09 is past due and owing. It's a lot of money, and it goes a long way when you've got 2 little kids. You don't know what this is going to do basically to your financial security. Like, what kind of fees am I going to look at for the court fees?
The hospital wouldn't talk about her case or others, and neither would the lawyers representing the hospital, saying in a statement they do not comment on any matters related to their clients.
But it's helpful to know there are some legal protections in Texas for debt collection lawsuits. The state's debt collection law says debt collectors can't take your home or your wages for debt, and that law has evolved over the years, most recently an update passing in 2019.
This bill is an attempt to bring transparency to the debt collection process. It requires the debt collector to notify the consumer that the statute of limitations has passed. So it put some protections in place.
Do you believe this law is adequately protecting people specifically involved in medical debt lawsuits?
Well, of course, there's room for improvement in any type of legislation. You always want to come back and look at it. I think it's a great start.
But who's enforcing it? The Texas Attorney General's office. So our team analyzed debt collection complaints made to the agency between 2019 and 2022. There were more than 4,000, Nearly 10% were related to medical debt.
We confirmed that while the AG's office has opened investigations, it's only handed down one enforcement action in that time, and it wasn't for medical debt. The agency wouldn't agree to an interview, but the numbers we uncovered could soon spark legislative movement at the state capitol.
Do you think you would tackle the medical debt aspect of it?
I'll be looking into it now. My office will. I want people to get medical help. If they are facing a healthcare challenge, or if they're having a healthcare crisis or issue, I want them to go to the doctor. I want them to go to the hospital. I don't want them to think, oh, I'm gonna have a high bill, I might get sued. If this is an issue that is going to give a person pause before they take care of their health, then yes, we need to take action.
What compelled you to reach back out to us?
When I read your letter, the frustration of all of that came flooding back. Having to go through the stress 2 years later of being served with a lawsuit, it was so frustrating to me, and now being in a position where I'm healthy and I'm back at work and we could just pay it and get it out of our lives, I started to think about the people who can't. It's a life-changing amount of money for a lot of people.
Not all of the patients sued had these same issues. Some just didn't pay, they ignored the bills, or couldn't afford them. Hospitals often offer payment plans or financial assistance. Online now we have more details on that support and other tips if you're sued. Explore our data interactive on lawsuits, get expert analysis in a new season of our Catalyst podcast, and take a closer look at what could prompt legislation when lawmakers return to the state capitol next session. We have a link to this story now in the Texas Politics section of our website. Women dying after recently giving birth, but it's not clear just how bad the problem is in Texas. Why lawmakers say the data they need is being delayed by the state.